Get out of here, you filthy man. Don't you realize your smell is offending everyone on this plane? Know your place. Hi everyone, my name is Rachel. I'm 25 years old, and today I'm going to share my story with you. I never imagined that a simple flight could change my life so much. I'm Rachel Smith, a successful businesswoman, and that day I boarded the plane expecting a smooth trip to New York for a charity gala. Glamour surrounded me, and I was radiant, wearing a designer dress that had cost a fortune. "Rachel, you look stunning," said my friend Anna as we climbed the steps of the plane. As soon as I entered the cabin, my eyes fixed on an elderly man sitting next to me. His name was Mr. John, and the smell emanating from him was unmistakable, like that of an animal shelter. I couldn't contain my disdain. "What kind of person brings such an unbearable smell onto a plane?" I murmured to Anna, who nodded, looking at the old man with a mixture of curiosity and disgust. During the flight, as the flight attendant served drinks, the odor only intensified. I sat with an expression of disdain, not bothering to hide it. When Mr. John started talking to the flight attendant, his voice was soft, but I could barely hear him. "Why doesn't this man get off the plane?" I thought, feeling a growing anger. The irritation drove me to act. "Excuse me, but someone needs to address this," I said, calling the flight attendant. "This man reeks of animals. It's unacceptable that I have to endure this during the flight." The flight attendant's perplexed look bothered me, but I stood firm. "He should be removed. I can't travel like this." "Ma'am, we need to be understanding," the flight attendant began, but I interrupted. "Understanding with a man who doesn't care how he presents himself. This is an offense." The rest of the passengers were silent, but I knew they were all thinking what I was thinking. After a heated discussion, the flight attendant reluctantly addressed Mr. John. "I'm very sorry, sir. The lady over there has demanded that you get off the plane." He looked at me with an expression of disappointment and sadness, but I remained unmoved. Screw that old man, I thought, feeling a wave of relief. Finally, I was getting rid of that uncomfortable situation. He got up slowly, and I watched as he left the cabin. A feeling of victory enveloped me. I had done what was necessary. Glamour and sophistication surrounded me, and that was the only thing that mattered. What I did seemed right, and I had no reason to feel bad. 2 days after the flight, my life continued to shine. The gala in New York was approaching, and I was excited about the opportunity to show off my new dress and shine in the spotlight. However, as I prepared, I realized that the incident with Mr. John had generated unexpected echoes. My friends commented on the courage I had shown in demanding that he leave the plane. "You did what you had to do, Rachel," said Anna as she fixed my hair. "We can't let careless people put us down." The truth is, I was feeling great. The idea that I had gotten rid of such an unpleasant situation only reinforced my ego. However, as the days passed, something strange began to happen. My cell phone kept ringing, and I received several messages and calls from people commenting on the heroic decision I made. What started as a moment of satisfaction turned into a topic of conversation on social media. Then, on the eve of the gala, I received a message directly from Mr. John. "Rachel, I would like to talk to you." "It's important." I felt a wave of irritation as I read those words. What could he have to say that I wanted to hear? I threw my cell phone on the table and ignored the message. I had more important things to worry about, such as the gala and the admiring glances I would receive. On the night of the event, the room was dazzling. Elegant people, soft music, and an atmosphere full of expectation. Every detail was perfect. As I headed to the bar, I spotted a group of people commenting on the incident on the plane. "Rachel showed no mercy. She did what anyone would do," I heard someone say, and a smile of satisfaction spread across my face. That's when a commotion started at the entrance of the gala. My heart raced as I saw Mr. John entering, surrounded by cameras and journalists. "What is he doing here?" I thought, horrified. The man I had insisted on expelling was now becoming the center of attention. He began to talk about the animals he cared for and his mission to rescue lives. I was in shock. People began to move away from me as the attention focused on Mr. John. He was a humble man, but now he seemed to have the confidence of a true leader. No one should be judged by appearances. We all have a purpose, and sometimes the most valuable lessons come from the people we least expect, he said, and the room fell silent. Those words echoed like a slap in my face. As everyone listened, I walked away, feeling a mixture of anger and confusion. He was overshadowing my shine, and the truth was that I couldn't stand to see someone so despised now becoming the hero of the night. What I had done seemed to be turning against me. Instead of sadness, however, I felt a growing determination. I wouldn't let this affect me. After the gala, I couldn't get Mr. John out of my head. The way he stood out that night talking about his animals made me furious. The pride I had built was being threatened by a man I considered despicable. I needed a solution, and quickly. That's when I decided to call my lawyer, Carlos, one of the most influential in the city. "Carlos, I need you to help me with a very serious situation," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. He answered immediately, and I noticed his attention. "What happened, Rachel?" "Remember the old man from the plane, Mr. John? He showed up at the gala and started talking about his projects with animals. I need you to do something about him," I said, irritation showing in my voice. "You want me to do what exactly?" Carlos seemed intrigued. "I want you to end this old man's life. Find a way to get him out of my way. I can't let him stop me from shining." The words came out of me with a coldness that surprised me, but I was determined. "Leave it to me," he replied, and I could hear the confidence in his voice. Carlos had contacts in places I could never imagine. He began to ask questions about what I knew about Mr. John. I passed on all the details I had, including his full name and information about the shelter he ran. What I didn't expect was what he would tell me next. "Rachel, I'm going to investigate this further. Sometimes a dark past can be the key to solving a problem." He hung up, and a chill ran down my spine. But at the same time, a feeling of relief enveloped me. Finally, I was doing something about it. The next day, I received a message from Carlos. I got information about Mr. John. The money he receives from donations for the shelter is illegal. I'm collecting evidence. My heart raced. Perfect, I thought. It was exactly what I needed. A few hours later, I called my friend, the delegate, Miguel. "Miguel, I need your help. Do you remember the old man from the plane? He's involved in an illegal donation scheme. Carlos can give you the evidence." My tone was firm, and I was determined. "I want you to arrest Mr. John immediately. I can't allow him to continue with this." "Rachel, this is serious. Are you sure of what you're asking?" Miguel questioned, but I didn't hesitate. "Yes, I am. I don't want this man to go unpunished. He needs to be stopped, and you're the only person who can do it." Miguel agreed to investigate. "I'll take a look at the evidence Carlos sent me and take the necessary measures." I hung up, feeling a chill in my stomach, but a satisfaction took over me. I was finally in control of the situation. That same night, the news broke. The police went to Mr. John's shelter and arrested him. The irony did not go unnoticed. The man who had challenged me was now behind bars. Meanwhile, I allowed myself a smile of satisfaction. The glamour and fame that I valued so much were once again within my reach. And now, there was nothing that could stop me. Life went on after Mr. John's arrest, but I couldn't avoid curiosity about what was happening to him. I received a call from Carlos, who informed me that the shelter had been closed and that Mr. John was in an overcrowded cell, surrounded by other inmates. Carlos's tone of voice revealed a slight pleasure in sharing the news. That hero life he had is over, Rachel. Now he's just another criminal. The images of that cell haunted me. Mr. John, a man who thought he was better than others, was now at the mercy of the brutality of a system that showed no mercy. I remembered the day I had expelled him from the plane, and a smile of satisfaction spread across my face. He deserved every second of that humiliation. A few days later, as I was preparing for another event, I received the best news I could imagine. Rachel, you won't believe it. Mr. John passed away, Carlos said, and the joy in his voice was palpable. I almost burst out laughing. He died! How? It seems he was feeling unwell in his cell. The man had heart problems, and the conditions in there didn't help. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you live a life of crime. Carlos's words sounded like music to my ears. I had been avenged. The great embarrassment he had caused me by forcing me to smell his foul odor on the plane was now a distant echo. A feeling of victory took over me. The weight I had carried since that day had finally dissipated. You're right, Carlos. This is justice, I replied, with a satisfied smile on my lips. I had the right to feel relief. I had gotten rid of a situation that embarrassed me. The humiliation I experienced dealing with that man finally had closure. That night, I went to a celebration party, surrounded by friends and admirers. The atmosphere was light, and I felt on top of the world. As we toasted, I couldn't help but share the news. That old man we all know, the one who smelled like animals, he's gone. Finally, justice has been served. The group around me reacted with laughter and comments about how life had its ironies. I looked around and realized that more than ever I was in control. The revenge, the relief, everything came together in a euphoric feeling. Now, no one could stop me. I had overcome the embarrassment, and life only seemed to shine more intensely. My path was clear, and I was ready to return to the center of attention. As the party continued, I felt at the peak of my strength and power. Surrounded by people who shared my lifestyle and my mentality, I knew I had a responsibility to expose the truth. The elite needed to be heard. I raised my glass in a toast and amidst laughter and conversation declared, people need to understand that those of us in the elite get everything we want. We are superior, yes, and I am authentic. I exposed the truth. The looks of admiration and approval from everyone encouraged me to continue. I would never let that poor old man intimidate me. I'm a millionaire. My parents are millionaires, my grandparents are millionaires, and my great-grandparents were the founders of the most famous makeup brand in the world. No one can stand against me. The hall echoed with applause, and I let myself be carried away by the moment. I believe this should serve as a lesson to everyone, I continued, my voice rising with passion. In the elite's game, there is no villain and no victim. We just do what has to be done. Simple as that. I felt a wave of power, as if I were touching the sky. My words reverberated like a manifesto of self-confidence and superiority. Everyone there knew it was true. I was in control of my life and would not allow anyone, especially a man like Mr. John, to take that away from me. His smell, the humiliation he put me through, all of that was now an old story, a closed chapter in a book I did not intend to reopen. As everyone toasted to my victory, I realized that my world was exactly where it should be. I was the queen of my castle, and nothing could shake this structure I had built. The look of contempt I'd given Mr. John now transformed into a celebration of my true essence. And so, as the party went on, I realized that I was not just a successful businesswoman, but a force of nature. Life was a game, and I knew how to play it like no other. The elite was in my veins, and I was determined to show the world what that really meant. Did you like the video? If you liked it, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share this story with that friend who enjoys real and impactful stories. See you in the next video.